Alright, so welcome everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is WHM, and on this channel we talk about enterprise applications, personal productivity tools, cloud technologies, emerging technologies too, like RPA and all of that. Okay, so in the previous video we installed WHM using an IBM Cloud VM. In this video, we are going to configure Cpanel, see how quickly we can set up a WordPress website on Cpanel, and I'm also going to show you a faster way to deploy WHM on your WHM using Google Cloud Platform. All right. So, but before you do this, you must have signed up for Google Cloud Platform. You can sign up. You don't pay to sign up, but you pay per use. When you create VMs, you pay. But the good thing is that Google gives you a $300 credit for you to be able to use the application for at least three to 6 months, depending on how quickly your credit gets exhausted. So let's get down to business. Let me show you how you can, a quicker way to set up WHM using Google Cloud Platform and configure Cpanel, and finally set up a WordPress site quickly. So let's jump into it. So here I am on my Google Cloud Platform dashboard. First thing I'm going to do is to come over to the hamburger menu here, and I'm going to look for Marketplace, and here you have Marketplace. So I come to Marketplace. So on Marketplace here, you're going to see that we have quite a number of applications here. We have Elastic Cloud, Apache Kafka, MongoDB, SendGrid. If you scroll down, you'll see that there's WordPress, Magento, and quite a number of applications here. All right, so what we are looking for is WHM. So I'm going to search WHM and enter. So here we have WHM. I'm going to click it. All right, so here on this page, it talks about, it gives you an overview of WHM. It also tells you the cost, the likely cost of the machine or the infrastructure. All right, so it's here. It has a it costs approximately $40 a month for this machine, and you have to bring your own license, BYOL, and that means that you still have to pay Cpanel's monthly subscription to use WHM Cpanel. We talked about pricing in the previous video. All right, so now I'm going to click on launch. All right, so so that it comes to this page and it asks what's the deployment name. We can call this WHM server. WHM server. All right. You want to pick a zone where you want this to be deployed. You could all right. So we picked a zone. The machine is a 2 virtual CPU with 8 gigs of 2 gigs of RAM. We have 40 gig hard drive space. All right, we have a network interface, and we have all of these firewalls and ports that have been allowed, because when you deploy WHM Cpanel, you need to have port 2087 and port 2083 open. Because Cpanel works with port 2083 and WHM works with port 2087. So those two ports are very important. They need to have access. So let's click on deploy, which is on the very bottom here. All right, so it's deploying now. Let's give this some time. It shouldn't take so much time though, but okay, so we see that there's activity that is happening, and it's telling us that WHM server is being deployed. All right, So we can see that the firewalls are being open, so this shouldn't take a minute. It should be ready anytime soon. Now the difference between what we did in the previous video and this is that in the previous video we had to go to the Linux interface and enter the command to prepare Perl, to prepare coil, and then the script to install cPanel. But all of this happens on the background using when you pick an image from Google Cloud Platform. Now these images you can also have this image in Azure, AWS, where you don't have to enter the script to install maybe any application you want to use. You just go to the marketplace and you pick up the image. So the installation is complete. All right. So now we have the admin URL here, the instance name here, and all of that. So it says get started with cPanel WHM on Linux. Log into your admin panel SSH. All right. So these are suggested next steps. Suggested next steps are broken down into two here, and this is what Google is advising. Google is saying, okay, run the SSH button and do a sudo WHM login, and you'll receive a message that will allow you a one-time login URL to WHM. Copy this URL and paste it in your browser to get started. And when you do that, now you can then go to WHM and then create, because we don't, the reason for this is that we do not have a username and password. WHM was just created for us, but how do we get the username and password? So that's what we're trying to go about here. So we can run this command, we get a URL. When we put that URL, we don't need to put any password or username. It just logs us in, and when we log in now, we can then decide to change the password in WHM. The second option is to SSH into the VM, that is the Google machine that was created, that was used to create WHM. We can SSH into it and create a root password. Is that root password we can use to access WHM now. So you have these two options. Okay, and the third suggested step is that you need to assign a static external IP to your VM instance. Okay, so let me talk about having a static IP. cPanel allocates licenses to IP addresses and not exactly to just your VM. It doesn't just throw you a license. The license is tied to an IP address. So for you to implement or install cPanel, you need to make sure that you assign a dedicated or static IP address. If your IP address changes, maybe if your machine reboots and the IP address is changed, and any of those kinds of things, if that happens, you're going to have a license check issue, and you may have to contact cPanel to resolve it. So ensure to map a static IP address to your VM that is hosting your WHM. So that being said, let us SSH into the machine. We'll give this some time. Let's just give this a bit of time. It shouldn't take so much time. Okay, so we've successfully logged in. Now I am going to sudo WHM login. Okay, I enter that. Aha, so you find out that this URL has been created. Now I am going to select this URL. I'm going to copy it. I'm coming to my browser and I'm pasting that there. So we can now see that cPanel or WHM is booting up, we accept the agreement, agree to all. Sometimes it's best to read these things, or it's always best to read these things. So log on to Cpanel Store. This is so that you're able to activate a 15-day trial version like we did in the previous video. So you as I said, you need to have a Cpanel account for you to have access to a trial version. Okay, the trial has been activated successfully. So I'm going to put my email address. I'm going to leave this as it is, but it's important you put in your name servers when you're setting up WHM Cpanel. There are two reasons why you probably need your name server set up. Is that one, first, you need a friendly domain name. You need to create an A record for that. A records are, so what we have here is an IP address 35.this.that.that, but you want to have a friendly domain name like dabo.whm.com or whm.dabo.com. So that whm.dabo.com has a name server, the name server that allows you create your A records. It allows your emails, you create emails, and those emails deliver to the exact box and all of these kinds of things. So you need to enter your name servers here. To get your name servers, you need to contact your domain name server, domain name provider, or your hosting provider. They will give you your name server. So you fill that here. Let's go finish. So this is a quicker way of installing WHM, unlike the method we used yesterday. I said yesterday, sorry, in the previous video. Alright, so now we have WHM set up here, and we can see the screen and all these other information. Now the next steps that we can do is first thing is to change the root password. We have to do that. Remember that we had the second option of going to change the root password from the Linux box, but here we can do it from WHM in a much more easier way. So let's come here. When you're putting passwords, make sure that your passwords have uppercase, lowercase. It has numbers, letters, anything. Just make sure that your password is secure. All right. Okay. So now we have password for our WHM. All right, the system successfully updated the root password. So that's the first thing we've done. The next thing that we can do is to see if we can install SSL. Okay, so my favorite SSL provider is Let's Encrypt, and we don't have Let's Encrypt here. You can install it through the the Linux box through the SSH, but that's not for this video. So I'll show you how to do that in another video. So what next can we do? Let us see if we can install add-ons. Add-ons, sites, software add-ons like WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, that would allow you. Let's see, internet is being slow. Okay, let me log back in. Ah, beautiful. Okay. Let me just refresh this page. Let me go do that again. The internet must have been acting up. Add-ons, install. It was taking so much time. All right, so now we have a list of add-ons that we can install. We just want to install WordPress. Let's see. So I check that and I update cp add-on config. The next thing we're going to do after this stage is to create packages. So what are packages? Packages are accounts or business. They're like when you want to buy they're like plans you want to purchase. When you want to buy a hosting plan, you see there's a hosting plan that has enterprise, and another hosting plan is business. The business probably has 10 gig allocation for space, gives you a limit of how many emails you can send and all of that. Enterprise probably will give you much more. So this is how what hosting companies do. They sell you different plans of their hosting. So with using WHM, you can successfully create your own plan or your own package that you want to sell to your customers. But it is important that whatever package you're trying to sell, it is in line with the specifications of the machines which you have set up, meaning that you cannot set up WHM on a machine that has 10 gig and start allocating 20 gig of space. You probably have to allocate 2 gig into 5 and divide them into 5 different customers, so or 5 gig into 2. So you must so if you want to sell to a much larger number of persons, you have to use a bigger virtual machine that has more space, more RAM and all of that, so that you can sell hostings to as many customers as you want. So over here we have WordPress successfully installed. Next thing we're going to do is to create a package. All right, so right here you can always add a package here, or you can always search here and type package. This search is very useful because when you look at the navigation menu here, you see that there are quite a number of items here, and it will take you time for you to know what everything here does. But this only goes on to show that WHM is a very robust tool, right? So you can either add a package from here, or we come here and we type package, and here we have add a package. So here on the package now, you can decide to call your package what you want. You want to call it enterprise hosting, you want to call it business, you're right, anything you want to call it. If you want to limit the hard disk space, so let's create two plans. Let's create enterprise hosting, and then we'll create a business hosting. All right, so you say hard disk space unlimited, monthly bandwidth unlimited, FTP unlimited, emails, all of this unlimited until max packed domain, I'm going to say, let's say 5. Max add-on domains, I'm going to say 5 here. Max passenger applications, everything unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. Dedicated IP, no. Shell access. Shell access is where we enter our Linux commands. So we're not going to give them shell access. Let's add this now. So the package has already been created. Let's see if we can create another package. Okay, so here we are. That's enterprise package. Now we're going to create business package. Business package for mid-size companies. Let's give this is 1 gig of space. Let's say we want to make it 5 gig. Monthly bandwidth, we can leave this as unlimited. We can say we want to give them only 3 FTP accounts. We want to give them only 100 emails. Maximum quota per email address. So we want to say no email should be more than probably 1 gig. Maximum mailing list, say 1. How many SQL database can they have? Let's say 3 or 5. Maximum subdomains, let's say they can only have 5 subdomains. Pack domains 1. Max add-on domains 1. Max passenger applications, so let's say 1. Maximum hourly email by domain relay, say 50. Maximum percentage of failed or deferred messages per unlimited. In fact, I'll leave this at unlimited like that. So dedicated IP, no. Shell access, no. CGI access, fine. Digest. So now we've successfully created 2 packages. Let's go back to the home page. Now on the home page, now we want to, next thing we're going to do is to create an account. Or yeah, so how do you create an account? You can come here, click create account. You can come here to list accounts. That will show you where all your other accounts are, or you can come here and type accounts. So when you type on accounts here, you then see where you can create a new account and all of that. So let's come here. So on this page here, you can say create new account. You can do that here. You can create new account here. You can create new account here. So any of them you prefer, just create the account. All right. So now where we're on this page now, what's the domain for this account? We can call it web.dabble.com, and this is where you have to have your friendly qualified domain name here, because that domain name is going to be tied to these accounts that you're creating. This account is similar to creating a website. So you're going to be creating a website. That website should have a URL. It should have a friendly qualified domain name. So people don't go to your website and say, hey, I want to visit 35.2.3.46. No, they don't do that. They go to, I want to visit dabble.com, or I want to visit web.dabble.com. All right, so what's the username? Web.dabble is fine. Let's put a password. Remember what I said about passwords? The passwords must have uppercase, lowercase, letters, numbers, everything. Make sure symbols. It just has to be secure. Let me type that again. All right, email. I'm leaving that. Now, on this account we're creating, they're asking us to choose a package. Are we giving this the business hosting or the enterprise hosting? I'll give it business hosting. Okay. And all this CGI and all of that and all of that. Mail route settings. I usually like to prefer automatically detect configuration. Make this make the account a reseller. So a reseller account, it just allows you to sell sub-hosting to your customer. So a customer who has this account now is able to break his account into pieces and sell them to other customers as a sub-hosting provider. Right? So, but we're not making this account a reseller. Let's move on. and all of these things. Use the name server specified at the domains registrar. So yeah, so when you have, but we're using this just for this demonstration, but you always use your own name servers. Very important. Okay, so the account has been created successfully. All right, so we can from here go to cPanel. The other way you can also go to cPanel is to come to accounts and click on list accounts, and then when you come here, you know, remember where we saw create new account, you know, we can now see that there's an account that is listed there, and that is the account we just created. All right, so let's you can click this cPanel. It will take you to the account, the cPanel account we just created, and here we have successfully installed cPanel. And look at it. If you're familiar with cPanel, you can you see all the normal features where you can create email, you can manage your files, you can create database, you can manage your domain names and all of that. All right, so this is great. All right, so now what we want to do next is to create a WordPress site, but for some reasons I'm not seeing the WordPress script that we had installed. So I am going to create the WordPress using the old-fashioned way. So what's the old-fashioned way of creating a WordPress website? We come to File Manager, and while that File Manager is opening, we go to the WordPress website, wordpress.org. On WordPress website, you get WordPress, you download WordPress here. It's just a small file. It wouldn't take you a minute to download. It's just about 14 MB. Now, on your file manager, now we come to public HTML. In public HTML, now we are going to upload the WordPress full file that has been downloaded. All right, desktop. So we have it here. Okay, so it's uploading. So while this is happening, let's go back to cPanel and let's come to MySQL database wizard. Let's create a database, call this web. Let's create a username for the database. It's best that you always make sure your username is different from the database name. This is just for demonstration. Make sure your database name is different from the database username. All right, so password, put a password. Remember what I said about password: uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, letters, put all so that it's secure. Create user, grant the user all privileges. Okay, so now we have the database and username ready. Let's go back to File Manager where we're uploading. So this is completely uploaded. All right, let's close this. Let's close this. Then we're back in the File Manager here. What we do is reload this page. Now we can see where we have WordPress here, but WordPress is a zip file, so we have to extract it. All right, so we're extracting it into public_HTML folder, because when you put files in public_HTML folder, this is what displays in your browser. All right, so unfortunately the the folder, the WordPress folder extracted as a folder, and I don't want it as a folder. I want, because if I have this as a folder now, when you have to visit the website, you have to go through web.dabo.com/WordPress, because it's in a WordPress folder. I don't want that. That's going to be like a subdomain. I don't want it to be like a subdomain. So I'm going to come into the folder and I'm going to move all the files and folders there to the direct and put them directly in public_HTML. All right, move. Okay. Up one level. Now I'm going to delete CGI bin, and I'm also going to delete WordPress, the WordPress empty folder. Okay. All right, so we've uploaded the WordPress folder. Let me also delete the WordPress zip file, which we also uploaded. All right, so we have uploaded WordPress folder. We have created the database. All right, next thing we're going to do now is to go to the website, the URL itself. Okay, I'm going to remove 2087. So when you're putting your URL, always make sure to put HTTPS. So here we are on the WordPress setup page. Okay, we go to continue. Now it says welcome to WordPress. Before getting started, we need some information on the database. You need to know the following items before proceeding: database name, database username, database password, database host. So let's go to where we created the database. Let's actually select the database name and user. Let's go. All right, so what's the database name? Paste it there. What's the database username? Paste that there. What's the password? So we put the password. Now, the table database host, localhost, you can leave that as it is. Also, so as for the table prefix it's advisable you change the prefix as much as you can, because anytime WordPress installs by a default installation, it has WP prefix. So then hackers know that most times than not your table prefix is WP, and you'll be vulnerable. So try to change your table prefix. So we've done this now. Let's submit. Yeah. All right, Sparky, you made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you're ready, time now to run the installation. So yeah, what are we calling the site? Cpanel tutorial admin. You could decide to change it. All right, let me work with this password that was generated and hide this. Then my email. All right, don't discourage. No, I'm not going to check that. I'm installing WordPress. Okay, so now let's log in. Admin, I put the password. Aha, so we have successfully, let's go to the front and see how the site looks like. Aha, so this is a WordPress site. It's just the default site. You can change it, you can do anything you want to do with it. All right, so what have we done today? We're able to deploy WHM using a quicker method, using marketplace image from Google Cloud Platform. This image is also available in AWS. It's also available in Azure Cloud. Is also where else do you have it? You know, it's available in quite a number of cloud platform. So we successfully installed WHM, we successfully configured Cpanel, and we then installed WordPress. So if this video has helped you in any way, please like, share, subscribe. If there are videos you want us to talk about in the future, please put it in the comment box. We usually cover topics around enterprise resource planning, enterprise applications generally. That means customer relationship management, that's CRM applications, enterprise resource planning, that's ERP applications, robotic process automation, that's RPA. We talk about personal productivity tools, project management tools, and cloud technologies. So any application you want to see a tutorial on, please just put it in the comment section. Until next time, please subscribe, invite your friends to this channel, and we'll see you in another video. Thank you.